What's up, everybody? Welcome to Real Talk with Casey and JoJo. What's up, Casey?
What's up, JoJo?
Today we have a special guest in the house.
Hi.
What's up? We have Michelle Swist. Hello, everybody. Say hi.
Hello. Hey, Casey. Hey, JoJo.
Oh, good.
Oh,
How
it's
are
so
you?
awesome to have you on this, podcast because you've been such a, how do you say it? A big, huge part of like our journey. And why not have you here and speak about your journey as well, since it's kind of like quantumly entangled, right? So this whole season we're talking about our spiritual awakening, right? And like the hard part, the dark night of the soul, what happened with the spiritual awakening, your journey, where you are, etc. So let's talk about it like we do in Real Talk. Let's get real. Share with us a little bit about yourself and kind of your story, your journey, and where you are.
Okay, I'm Michelle Swist, and I represent the Heart Chakra in the QE Academy and in the Love Your Life tribe. And my spiritual awakening began in 2012. And I know a lot of people, that was like a really significant year for a lot of people going through their transformation and awakening and just whatever they were going through on their journey. But my my spiritual journey started after a scary health diagnosis. I was diagnosed with I would say, I would call it a disorder. It's called trigeminal neuralgia, and they label it the suicide disease. And what it is, um, it feels like someone is stabbing me in the cheek or the eye or the jaw with a knife in an electric socket. And they only last like for 30 seconds, but you can have hundreds over and over. And they're extremely painful. And just having that chronic pain and that fear that, oh God, another shock's going to happen because you don't know what's going to cause it and trip it up. For me, it was stress that caused it and triggered it. But it would happen when I was eating. So when I was chewing, when I was brushing my teeth, when I had water touch my face, if the wind hit my face, I'd get a shock. So it was almost like I couldn't even do anything. And for a while, I was really good with it just happening during the day. And so I could sleep. So I always wanted to sleep. But then I started getting woken up in the middle of the night with shocks just from making movement. I don't know. But I was
Spirit was trying to wake you up.
Seriously. Well, and that's what happened because I went and got a brain MRI, and I wasn't a candidate for brain surgery. And what they typically do with that surgery is they put a little Teflon cover over the nerve because it's the nerve touching and compressing against an artery that's triggering the pain. But I wasn't a candidate for the surgery, so the only other thing was medication. The medication that they prescribed me was for epileptic seizures. So it was a non-convulsant type of medication, an antispasm, and then obviously Ativan, because my anxiety level was off the charts, just always worrying and in fear. And I couldn't function just on Ativan. So then it was take a Zoloft every day so your anxiety can chill. Well, that was all fine and dandy if I wanted to be zoned and spaced out all the time and not even be able to function. My kids were still young then. My son was 12 at the time and my daughter was 8. So, I mean, I still had like school, driving,
You
working.
needed to be present.
Yeah.
Totally. So for me to be medicated to a point where kind of zombie-ish and not being able to function was not an option. So that's when I started really diving into yoga for movement and stretching and relaxation and meditation. And with the meditation, then I started really getting should I say in touch literally with crystals they became wonderful tools for me to use in my meditation as well as my healing. So I started to immerse myself in all things spiritual that can help me heal, help my body heal on its own. Still taking the medication, but maybe not as high as dosages that are that high that it was just making me a zombie. It was like, okay, let me do this with a little bit of this and let's see if we can find the right balance. So when I started getting into the crystals, I had a group reading with friends, and I really started wanting to develop my psychic abilities. Well, I decided to work with the crystals while I was meditating, and I started, getting messages and what have you. I started getting a message. Really, what happened was my clairaudience kicked in that I didn't even realize. But I was meditating, and I hear, "Get him to the vet." I was like, "What the heck?" Okay, it's like my voice, but like it just there's no rhyme or reason why I would have heard this while I was meditating. I started to realize that my dog at the time, he was pure white, but his chest started to discolor. And I thought that was weird, but didn't pay any mind. Just thought like, okay, he's just like, I mean, a lot of times with the white dogs, when they lick their coats, it'll discolor. So I thought maybe it's something like that. Well, a couple days go by. I'm sleeping in the middle of the night. I hear my voice yelling, "Get him to the vet," to where it woke me up out of my sleep. And I'm like, okay, there's something with this. So I was checking my dog's throat, and I felt some like lumps. So we got him to the vet. He ended up being diagnosed with lymphoma, ended up passing 5 weeks later, but which was horrible and devastating. But that puppy totally woke up that clair gift in me, that clair sense of clairaudience. I was gifted with that. And so it's been really cool to see how my gifts have been opened by others. And especially once they like leave this physical realm, I'm gifted with these other wonderful gifts along my journey. So that's one thing as far as like what really started getting me into it. When I was going to yoga as part of my practice to help me heal and stretch and release that stress, it was one of my happiest places to be, was in yoga, because I would close my eyes and it was a moving meditation throughout my practice. And then at the end, when it's
when you just lay there and do nothing.
Yes, savasana.
Yes.
Savasana.
Love
my
that part.
favorite part.
Yes. It's our favorite.
Earned it.
I worked so hard. Yes. So now, and it's like, I've worked so hard to get to this point that I could just be. Well, as I would lay there, messages would come in and everything, but I would just lay there and I would just send love. Like, I was so happy and just in this moment that I'm like, oh, I'm sending you Joni love, and I'm sending you Deb love, and I'm sending you Georgelina love. Like anybody that was in the class that I knew, and if I didn't know their name, I was like, I'm sending you over on the green mat love, and it was just my way of like, oh, I hope you all can feel this happy, loving feeling that I'm feeling right now. It was my way of like spreading that and sharing that. When I mentioned that to my yoga instructor, she mentioned to me, well, have you ever thought about doing Reiki?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So she suggested me talking to her Reiki master, and she was just actually going to have a workshop in the upcoming weekend. So I signed up for it. And then the rest is history, because that's when lots of fun stuff started happening and just learning how energy works. And so magical. So magical.
You fell in love.
Yes, totally. I fell in love with being able to take a part in my healing process, to be a part of it and be a part of it in this wonderful, beautiful, loving, magical way, but using source energy, God, creator, source, and allowing that to work through me. And being able to be a vessel and having that energy, like channel that energy through me and sending it out to whoever needs and wants that energy for whatever it may be, is so important. It's my passion. It's what I'm here to do. I'm here to be a vessel of love and light for others. And I realize that, which is so awesome. I realized that after working with Joanna and her Create the Life You Love, that was super, super powerful and just life changing. It's so cool how things may seem like they're little things, like your little stepping stones along your way, along the journey.
The baby steps that we call them.
Yes. And they are baby steps, and each one is so life changing. I mean, they can be so simple, so small, but yet when you take a look at all the baby steps that you make, it's like, wow.
That's what I'm kind of trying to like show everybody, because you can look back in hindsight and go, wow, like if I did this. And that's basically the point of what I see in your journey, is that in everyone's journey really, is that once we start seeing that we are capable of healing and that we can heal ourselves, then we just are called to want to show others that, hey, look, you can heal yourself too. Like it's possible. And we're just on this journey of like, hey, let's heal together, because it is such a big thing to go from darkness and pain and like everything that's just zombie, dull, numb, right? We numb ourselves. We're in pain. We just don't know how to cope. We don't know what tools to use, etc. And then it's like, you're woken up, however you are woken up, at something wakes you up, right? And because your life has changed, you're having to do things differently. And then you realize, oh, wow, there's more to this, right? And then you start learning the tools and you start implementing the tools. Let me get real with you real quick.
Okay.
Let's get real quick, because this is real talk. So
I didn't bring tissues. I need
no, just real talk. So question. It's a question. Along your journey, right? You work with a lot of crystals, you work with energy, you work with stuff that most would consider woo-woo, right? But your intention and your heart and where you are, everything, screams love and light, right? And it's all about the energy. So have you come across people who think or basically are throwing stones at you, basically telling you, you work with crystals and that's not, what do I say? That's evil or
witchy or what
I
have
was
you.
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
You're a witch.
Basically. So like what, have you come across people like that? And two, how do you handle it? And are you open about like everything that you do, in your life, or are you kind of in the middle of
Picky.
like, where are you?
Picky.
No, I mean, there's a phase of like, I'm coming out.
Well, when I say, when I say picky, I mean like you choose who you open up to in that manner.
I mean, because this is not something that you just open up to everybody.
No,
but
sure.
Correct. I think I came out of the crystal closet, and on my spiritual journey, I think after I began to represent the Heart Chakra in the QE Academy. Before that, people knew I did Reiki, but I wasn't on social media a lot. And when people would talk to me, I'd talk to them and tell them what I did. But I definitely know my audience and who I can say certain things to. And that goes for my daughter as well. She knows based on certain people, like how much that she wants to share of what I do, because she is very much into Christianity, and she knows that there may be some people that may not be cool with me with my angel cards or tarot cards, right? With my crystals. Oh, I've got some essential oils. Oh, hey, you have some negativity. Let me sage you and let's release that shit, right? So, I mean, it's very much I am open. She picks and chooses. So I just follow her lead when it comes to that. And it's all about knowing your audience. So if I'm at a business dinner with Bob and people ask me what to do. If I feel like they're going to be cool with it, then I'll say, but sometimes people don't even ask me what I'm doing because they just assume I've been a stay-at-home mom all this time. So they're just like, oh, how's your health? So I'm like, okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. And you
No,
can say this stuff in a very, however I'm one of the 7 nerve
yes.
center plexuses, representing one of the nerve plexuses in the Quantum Entanglement Academy. What?
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what's that? It's interesting because even people that I've talked to about what I do, and I didn't think they'd like get it, or they'd be kind of like taken back. They're like, oh, and then they're interested. So I just kind of fill it out, and I'm not so much hiding. I'll tell everybody, and even with my posting and stuff, I'm not. I am who I am, and I'm here just to shine light and love. So you know what? If you don't accept it, like you don't have to. It's like if you're open to receive, cool, and everything. I have to say that I am most definitely living an intentional life now, because intention is everything. That we know, right?
We learned that from Michelle.
Yes.
No, and I think that your daughter is a great bridge of that gap between Christianity and spirituality, because she's in the middle there trying to figure it out, right? And so she's hearing this side of it, she's seeing your side of it, and she's realizing I don't see anything wrong with it, right? So she's starting to bridge, because there isn't anything wrong with it. It's been labeled as wrong, but when you actually look at it,
has she
the stuff has been used biblically, so it's not,
has she had felt any type of way towards, I don't know if the church is the right word, but religion, because if she's realizing that nothing's wrong with this, and religion has accused like people of being witches if they use it, then once you come to grips with that, there's a natural flow back to, well, hold up, why'd you tell me this was wrong?
Has she got to that point?
Yeah, has she gotten to that point?
No, she hasn't. What I know, the way I know she feels is that if somebody is very much into the Bible, into their Christianity, and they wouldn't be necessarily open to even hearing about energy, she won't bring it up, because she just knows if people are talking about crystals or angels, then she'll say, oh, you know what, this is what my mom does. She talks to angels, she works with them, she works with energy, she works with crystals, she works with Reiki. So she knows when to say. The thing is I don't think she's heard anybody in the church ever say that yet, because that's going to be the day she's going to come and ask me what is up. Yeah, it is. It's going to, so she's very much loves to the music and the worship, and she's in an adult Bible study group, and so they're breaking down the whole book of, I want to say maybe James. I think that's what she's going through. But knowing that, and knowing that she loves when I send her Reiki, she has her crystals, she will access them when she's ready. When she doesn't want to, then she doesn't. But she loves feeling that energy healing, and she loves allowing it flowing through her so she can heal. When I do send her prayers, I do send it more so, Jesus, be with me. I know you're with me. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for lifting this and filling my heart with love. Amen. I do it very much to where she's used to those kind of prayers, more so than how I would somebody that maybe isn't in an organized religion, that they're just spiritual. So I would say, I call upon you, universe, source, energy, to cleanse and clear, and then so it is, so it's
a different language. It's like we're all saying the same thing in different ways.
Yes. It's just like our Theology Thursdays.
It's not just a different language, it's a different, I mean, what did you say, a different say a different language?
Yeah, it's
not just a different language, like you're on a different level, right? Like you speaking in the sense of a universe is it's limitless. But
Right.
speaking in the sense of a man, it's like, not, and no disrespect to Jesus, that's not the point, but it's just more, it's very narrow,
It's
right?
putting it in a box, and we're
Yeah.
all
Right,
about, we're
right.
all looking outside of it, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be just in that box. But for
Right.
some people, if that's what resonates with them,
It makes
For
it
sure.
feel more comfortable, then you use those words. It's kind of like you
Exactly.
meet them where they're at because you don't want to overwhelm them and you don't want to like push them away wherever they're comfortable. And there's some people that are open-minded and they're ready for more and you want to drop some seeds, you know?
Yeah,
100%.
I think we're all kind of at that stage where, you know, we've been through the information vomiting stage where anyone that was willing to even listen to a little bit was, and then you realize, okay, I need to be more like picky about who I say this to. And then you kind of realize, you know, I don't even really need to say it if they're asking. I need to look past that and even look at it even deeper and base my advice off where exactly what you said, where they're coming from, right? Which is the way it needs to be.
And
But
that's
I
if
think
they
that's where
even
we're all
ask,
at, right?
you know, because sometimes
Yeah.
they don't even want to, they don't even want to know.
No, and for instance, when she's sharing with me kind of the breakdown of what they're learning in their Bible verse, because I know differently from working with you, Joanna and Keith, during like metaphysical meetings and the breakdown. So I allow her to receive it for what she's needing it for right now, for sure. For instance, I sent her a prayer this morning, and then I added scripture from Isaiah, and the scripture, it was pretty cool, and I'll share it with you real quick. I can find it. Let's see.
Is it
So-
111?
So I created this prayer for her. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for lifting and removing anything that is heavy on my heart and weighing on my shoulders and replacing it with your divine love. Thank you for surrounding me in your love and comfort. Amen. And then I sent her this from Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So it's like, I know exactly the breakdown.
You know what it means. Yeah. So it's like you're not going to send her a scripture that doesn't have a meaning also. Like the meaning that we understand and then the meaning that she understands.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So I just thought that was really cool. And I know right now with what she's going through, the only way that I can help her or that she'll listen is through this way right now.
Right.
And so this is my little seed. Like, here you go, because this is the way I can comfort you while you're at school. Something that I know speaks to you. You love to pray, you love Jesus. There you go.
You're her guide, you're her teacher,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And it's cool. And because I mean, I think, you know, it's like we all have individually have guides and teachers that we look up to, and they have their guides and teachers that they look up to. Right.
And ultimately, who is the guide? Who is the guide? Who is the main guide? Come on.
Oh, it was like Jeopardy. This is a question.
Yes. Who's ultimately the main teacher?
Yourself?
When you go inward.
Yeah. You
Yes.
go into meditation, you go within and you listen, you get quiet and you listen, and then you know.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Yes.
About your story. So when you were experiencing the shocks, that was like the low point, right? That was like the lowest point when you just started discovering crystals and meditation. And so my question is that when you started incorporating that, like what happened then with that piece of your life, the shocks? Like, did it get better? Were you able to control it? Like, talk a little bit more about that. I'm interested in that.
I have to say it wasn't a quick fix by any means. It was really, they helped because they helped calm me to a point where I wasn't so worried. But when you it's so interesting because it's like if you were to just walk around and all of a sudden get shocked with a taser, okay? But you're getting a tased in the face. So if you're just walking around, but you don't even know when it's happening, but you're like this, like, fuck, what's going to happen?
You are describing exactly what I imagined when you were describing it initially. I'm like, oh, that fucking sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's awful.
I would die.
It is,
right?
It's horrific, and there are a lot of people that suffer with it, and
Is that why it's called the suicide?
yes, and
Why?
it's labeled suicide disease because you want to kill yourself because it's so painful.
Oh,
And
not because there's a high suicide rate of people that have it.
I'm sure there is.
Right.
I wasn't gonna allow myself to get there, because when I saw that it was the suicide disease and I had these young kids, I'm thinking, as an OCD person, holy shit, I can't fucking kill myself. I have babies.
Yeah, like that was your wake up call.
But yeah,
Alarm
but then
bells
I'm
and
like,
shit.
but then I'm like, oh, but holy shit, how do I deal with this? Like, this is painful. This is freaking excruciating. I have this picture that I can send you later of somebody posted on Instagram for trigeminal neuralgia, and it just looks like this hammer busting through your face. And it's just like, just that pain, you just feel it. Nobody can see it on the outside either. So I took a video of myself while
So your face doesn't move. It's like frozen.
The only thing that it does is my eye twitches a little, but I'm getting shocked. So you can't even say it. So the only reason why, like, the family would know that I was having it was if I go, oh, or if I'm eating them like this, like this. And at one point I didn't know if I could drive, but then there was this whole situation where I was in panic mode and I had to make sure there was a person like on the campus, possibly with a gun at Kyle's middle school. And so I needed to make sure he was safe. So I got in my car and I was zapping while I'm driving. And I'm like, okay, I could do this. I could drive while
I can do this and be zapped at the same time.
Hold up. This is fascinating. Hold on. I'm so fascinated by this. So when this happened, when you would get these shocks in your face, there was no visible movement to anyone else.
No, I'll send you a video.
No, I totally believe you.
So you could check it out.
But then
so nobody knows. You're suffering in silence.
When you communicated it to your family, you're literally performing a complete act. You're not feeling the pain in which you're acting. You're just performing that movement to alert them that it's happening right now.
Well, and the pain.
No, there's times the pain is what like will get me. So like, okay.
So you'll twitch, but then it's not a continuous thing.
No, exactly. It's more like that shock at first, that zap that you get. It's like a zinger. I mean, if I would just eat, like, say, I couldn't even eat apples or chips, like, so it had to go like a little bit of softer. But as soon as I chew, I'd be like this because I feel it. So they'd see me while I'm eating, and I'm just like this, like, oh God, I can't even chew anymore. I try to like.
I don't mean to laugh. But
no. I try to press the food with my tongue to make it so I could swallow it. And yeah, it's brushing your teeth, washing your face. So it was really hard for me. Oh, smiling. You guys, you know me. All I freaking do is smile, right? I couldn't even smile at people because I get a shock from smiling. It was fucking horrible. It's horrific. Anybody that has it, I send them so much love because it is fucking horrible. So yeah.
So that was her rock bottom.
Yeah. So then when
so then she got her clears, and then
so basically with the help of like getting on medication that wasn't making me so dysfunctional throughout the day, but also then taking the time to move and not mess up. I didn't do anything like with yoga. I couldn't do down dog. I couldn't have any pressure on this side of my shoulder and my face and my neck because it triggers it. Massage was key. And that took me quite a while before I even let her touch my face to massage or even lay face down on the table because that's pressure. So I wouldn't even do that. I still to this day don't lay on my left side in bed because I don't want anything happening. So I only lay on my back or my right side. But it was do meditation, the yoga, the crystals, the Reiki, and then the Reiki, like really going in and going into heal and just just working with the tools, my clairsenses, once I started opening up, I'm using my spirit team, please come on, bring me some peace, bring me ease. And you guys know my intention every morning is for peace and ease in my mind, body, heart, and spirit, with a dash. We're using the dash right now. Okay, we're gonna sprinkle. Yeah, with a dash of fun. So it took a while. I mean, this is how it started. All started in 2012, and I have to say, it wasn't until 2018 when I had to get off the anti-seizure medicine. I had to get off of it in January of 2018. I had to wean off of that because it was going to cost $1,000 a month for that medication. It was one pill I'd take a day. And they didn't think that my medical diagnosis was of anything to like bring the costs down. So I had to find another way. And with the doctor's help, I weaned off of that medication, because you can't just stop a seizure medicine, even though you didn't take it for seizures. Because if you do just stop it, you could have a seizure. So I'm like, holy crap. Now that's another fear,
You
right?
got all tangled up. Yeah.
So then it was weaning down to just an antispasm. And that was for me to take it 3 times a day. And I did, but I've slowly weaned to just once a day, which is
That's
awesome.
where you are now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but I haven't had an episode since 2018.
Wow.
So that's huge.
And you would attribute that, you think, 100% to your practices and the meditation and all those things?
I mean, that's a huge
think
stress relief.
I feel like it's all. I know I'm taking the medication because it's a crutch, but it makes me not have the fear.
Yeah. It's consoling.
Baby steps.
Well, and too,
Yes.
like psychologically, because I mean, kind of like reading your body language and as you're telling the story, what did that feel like to go to? Because you had to have felt like, as you're telling this, I'm thinking to myself, man, like she feels like this, she's tied to this medicine. Like I'm chained to a pill, right? Like I'm chained to a pill that I'm taking out of the fear of this happening over and over and over again. And it's like, that's a hard chain to break, right? I mean, is that how you felt? And then as you broke through, it's like, holy shit, you feel lighter, you feel in control. You feel in control of your body and control of your health, right?
It was so scary just to even go and talk to the doctor about even starting to wean off of that one medication. And it took a couple months, like going down in levels, like the milligrams that I was taking. And when I'd have to go in, like I was doing that alternating nostril breathing, pranayama breath. So I was using my tools, my breath work. I had crystals all up in my pocket when I was going to the doctor's office, man. And I sleep with them on me.
They ask you to get on a scale and you got to empty like 15
No,
crystals.
let me take all my crystals off first. Hold on. Wait,
I got one more.
Exactly. Yes. And so, and oh man, Archangel Michael, I was calling upon him every second I could get, like, just be with me, please release any fear, worries, anxieties from me. Thank you so much for being with me. Allow me to feel your presence. I mean, what this whole journey has shown me and what it's created is my constant communication with God, with the angels. I am in constant communication throughout my day, all day long. It does not matter. I typically, if I'm by myself in the car, I don't even put on music because I'm talking to the angels, being like, okay, yeah, well, you know what? I'm running a little late. Can you just help me get there right on time? I don't care how it's done, just like safely and on time. And then I'll get green lights. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's just having that, knowing that, feeling that connection to them. It's everything. And if there are days where I'm feeling like, oh, I haven't connected, then it's like, let's do this. Cause I want that connection. That was something that was so important to me. Like, we talk about that Wi-Fi, that connection, that clarity when we're in a Reiki session or meditating. And it's like, you guys know from experiencing it, how awesome it is to be what what does Abraham said? Tapped in, turned on, tuned in.
Tapped
You know
in,
what I
tuned
mean?
in, turned on. Let's
Yep,
go.
that's it.
He says it all the time.
Totally. And you guys know what that feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, and anybody that's watching this, I hope that you have the opportunity to know what that feels like, because it's amazing. And I wouldn't
Being in
want
the
it.
vortex,
Well,
Yes.
in
dude,
alignment.
so like straight up, I didn't know your story to this extent. Obviously I know you, but I didn't know you like that. And like what I
I
love,
didn't know you like that. You know what I'm saying?
what I love about your so respect. What I love about your story is that there's no cheat codes to like true health, right? Like you get in what you get in what you get out what you put in, right? And we all know like everything's done based on 30-day fast, 60-day fast, do this, do that. But like you were consistent, right? You were consistent and you were consistently improving over time, which is the true way you have breakthroughs. There's no shortcut. You hit rock bottom. We've all been through this breakthrough. You have to fucking sit in it, right? And you have to be willing to like do the work. Right.
And
And
it's fucking hell.
And we're still doing the work.
right.
Oh,
Of course.
sure.
Of course. But we're doing but the beauty of it is I think, when you hit that rock bottom, the next rock bottom isn't quite that rock bottom.
Right.
It's higher.
Right.
And that's
and you
a
got that
sign
connection.
right. And that's a sign of your own
Growth.
enlightenment journey. Right.
Well,
But that's what I love about your story. So what I'm trying to say is respect, because like, how I feel about medication. I mean, you're the proof is in the pudding. I mean, you went from taking something way up here to taking one a day and not having anything for however many years, 4 years or whatever it is. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. And there's no cheat codes. You just did it. You just put it into work. So respect.
thank you. Thank you.
And it's always something that catapults us towards something better, even though it was bad. There's always a bad that takes us to a good, and it's like something has to tear down or collapse before we can rebuild something better.
Because the fact of the matter is none of us were ready to receive what we needed to receive because we weren't in a state of receiving, right? So
No,
we had to be beat down to the point where we surrendered, right?
And then you're like, God, please.
Right. And then by surrendering, you start to see the path, which is not easy, and it takes dedication.
Oh, you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's interesting because I consider it like at certain points, like while I was working on my journey to like not have any episodes, when I go for a certain amount of time without any, and then I get a little zinger, I'm like, oh wait, let me check myself. And I'm like, okay, what am I not doing? Usually it was the self-love, self-care. Because it's like, so it was my GPS. It's just like, hey, knock, knock. Guess what? You better check yourself. You're not taking care of yourself. And this is how I'm going to show you. And so something that is so freaking devastating and horrific, I learned so much from, because I could tell like, okay, I'm getting tight. Okay, if I'm getting tight, that can start to trigger things. So now we got to keep it loose. We got to keep it flowing. So guess what? I'm going to have to stretch today.
You were forced to self-love yourself.
Totally.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it's not just putting in the effort. It's breaking the bondage that we've been taught, right? Like we're taught, right? Like we're taught, take a pill, right? Do this, do that, take a pill, this, that, take a pill for it. When there's alternative measures. And like you said, you found balance in it. And within that balance, it made it easier to wean off of it. But yeah, man, you still had to do it day in and day out.
And it's interesting because like you said, like, in that bondage, it's like when we talk about moving out of Egypt, right? That lower cardinal nature. But what I had to do is move from the state of fear to the state of love and faith. And that is the hardest thing. And that's what we're working on right now, right? And the QE Academy, to let go, to to release fear and have faith in believing.
Let go of worry. Yeah.
Yes. And that's still something I have to do all the time. I've been doing it. Like I shared with you what happened over the weekend, what I had to like let go and surrender. And surrendering is the most difficult thing for me anyway. I'm sure it is for most people, because when you surrender, it's like you're bungee jumping without that cord.
And that's why sometimes we need that friend, and she'll just like message me, I'm about to bungee jump, but can you push me? Can you push me though? Can you push me?
Oh my goodness, it's crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's love over fear, period.
Yeah.
And that goes for everything. That's just what it is. So you love, you have faith, and you let go, let God, let universe know that they have your back. And I mean, but it's still constant communication with like a spirit team. I need you right now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have to ask for help.
Yeah.
They're there, but you got to ask.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, and speaking of asking, so like how much of a role do you think intuition played in your journey? Like how much did you start to pick up on your intuition, then rely on your intuition, and then start to have trust and faith in your intuition, if you know where I'm coming from?
Yes. So it was 2015 that the clairaudience started, or I started hearing. And then I started really, really digging into, what is this voice? It sounds like my voice. It's not some crazy voice from whatever. So then I started really working with that. And then when I started like getting just this knowing, like, oh my God, Kyle, he can't leave to go down to the beach at 5:30 in the morning. No, something's telling me no, because I would hear, make him stay. And I'm just like, what the heck? And I'm like, dude, sorry, you can't go. What do you mean I can't go? No, I'm hearing something, so you're not going. And so it got to a point because, my husband Bob had to really support and let go of what he thought about spirit or intuition and what have you. Because I'm just like, no, you don't understand. There's a reason why I'm feeling this, and they just need to listen. I'm not trying to mess up their fun, because I would never mess up their fun. I just want them to be happy and have fun. But there's no way they're getting in a car right now. And so they finally started to really like, oh God, Mom, okay. But now they listen to their.
She spoke from a place of authority.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny because like I'm so into the spouses, like how the spouses handle this shit, because I'm the understudy, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm the lower one on the totem pole. So I know like what it's like to have someone that's more ascended in that in the spiritual aspect, right? To constantly be around that person and know that, okay, if I bring her into this situation, that may not work out, just because of that, the aspects of what you guys are. So yeah, so so tell me more about that, because I love talking about that, because I think I've asked everyone that question.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what was it like for him in terms of like, did he have his own sort of like, oh shit, or did he just tolerate it, or kind of what was his story?
No, okay.
If you're okay sharing it.
Yeah, totally okay, Sharon. So let's take it back. Let's take it back to after the clairaudience happened, because I asked him to take the dog to the vet, and then we found out about the pup and everything. So then he's like, oh, and I'm like,
Oh,
no,
so his ears perked up.
Yes, okay.
Nice.
So that was that. Then I had this opportunity to go with friends to Sedona, and I was going to be with a psychic medium, and his dad had passed away. Excuse me. His dad passed away before I ever met him, before we got married. So I never got to meet his dad on this earthly realm. So I was gonna be with a psychic medium. So hey, I'm like, hey, babe, is there anything you want me to ask your dad if he comes through? And he's like, what? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna try and connect with your dad because I want to get to know him, because I didn't get to meet him in life. And he's looking at me like I'm crazier than all get out, right? Like, no. And I'm like, you don't have anything to say to your dad? It's like, no. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, let me know if you change your mind. So a couple times I kept mentioning it to him, and I said, well, are you okay that I'm gonna connect with your dad? He's all, you could do whatever you want, but that shit scares the hell out of me. And I'm like, your dad, okay. I'm like, all right. I'm like, well, I'm not scared. I'm not, well, good for you. I'm all okay. And I said, well, if you change your mind, let me know. Well, he ended up sending me an email because I was en route to Sedona of questions that I could ask. Well,
Nice.
Johnny did come through, and Johnny came through my friend as like where she's like even doing his body, his manners, his mannerisms and stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't know him at all, but I'm just like, oh yes, I know this is him, right? And so then I shared with Bob, and he was just like very touched and moved by it, but still to this day, and I've connected to him, so I'm in contact with him all the time, and I'll even there will be times that he channels through me to talk to him, and he did tell me that we are together so that I am that connection for Bob. So it's so cool. But he doesn't want him to visit him at all. So he just like allows, and he's very supportive of me, but he's very much too like, if your mom heard it, felt it, saw it, whatever, know it,
Nice.
you just listen. So it makes it nice. It makes it much easier.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like he's in both places, like one foot here and the other foot there. Like
we used to do this thing where you know, I'd come home and she'd do the Sports Center top 10 thing, and then I'd get updates, right?
Right.
And that's kind of like how we communicated for a while. But what I think is cool is that, you know, he was super reluctant, like super standoffish. You lovingly presented an option, and you're like, all right, do what you want. He went home, thought about it, had some healing to do, right? Obviously, wrote down some questions. You communicated back. He obviously was touched by it. You converted him, right? Like the proof is in the pudding. Like you can't deny. Like what I get out of that is like when something like that happens, you can't deny truth.
Yeah.
Right? When you feel something and you're connected like that, it's inexplicable. It's like love. I can't explain to you how it feels to be in love. It's just you'll know when you know, right? But you know, he felt something and he was open to it, and he stood off, but he was man enough to step back into that role and ask those questions, but still with boundaries.
He asked questions, or he didn't ask questions?
No, he gave her a list of questions.
Yeah, he sent me an email with questions for me to ask.
As she's on the way to the medium.
Yeah. Okay, I remember. I just didn't. I was like, wait, it was a list of questions. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
He asked me, but the coolest thing I have to share with you, that was really, really cool. But the coolest thing was when I connected with Johnny the first time. It was freaking awesome. So I started like watching one of the Hay House. I think it was it Randall Valentine? It was one of the psychic mediums that does workshops on Hay House, and it was on how to connect with your past loved ones. So I was watching that. So I go to the safe, I grab Johnny's wedding ring, and I'm like, I'm going to meditate with his wedding ring and see if I could connect. And it was the coolest thing because I did. It was like magical because he was talking through me, like it was all within the mind. There was no like I didn't hear an outside voice or anything. It was all like it's your inner voice, but
telepathically.
Yes, but it's different because I could tell it was him. But he shared, you know, and that's how I found out that he is Kendall's guardian angel. He's watching over Kendall. He's with her all the time. So, and I said, well, what about Kyle? And he's all, no, you're like, she said, Gigi, which is my grandma, is watching over Kyle. So they each have them assigned to them, which is really cool. But then I asked him to say, I said, tell me something only Bobby would know. And this is where another gift came. So I heard pizza and I heard baseball, but then I had this image, and it was the first time I got that clairvoyance image in my mind of this grass field. And I was like, okay. And then nothing else. Like nothing else. I'm like, okay, thank you. Okay. Goodbye. And the cool thing about this whole time was while I was having this meditation discussion with Johnny, Vinny, my pup, was whining and like looking around because he could tell there was a presence here. And so it was really, really cool. But he wasn't whining like scared, like if he was trying to talk to them too. And I have it on video. It's so freaking cool.
You have a lot of stuff on video. Like, I wish I had somebody
right?
that's walking around having me on video for whatever it may be.
I don't know I didn't have proof of anything I say. I got no proof.
I got a video.
Well, it's so cool. I just decided when he started to whine, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, no, somebody's here. The coolest thing about the whole experience was, how am I going to tell Bob when he gets home, right?
Yeah.
He's going to think I'm freaking nuts. So,
But it's still cool. though.
Unless
okay, so we're folding clothes. Nobody else is home. The kids were out. And we're folding clothes. I'm like, hey, babe. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, guess what I did today? And he's like, what? And I'm like, well, I tried something new. I meditated with your dad's wedding ring and I connected with him. And he just like looked at me like, you have got to be freaking kidding me. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, and said, well, he was really happy with the fact that you went out with the, to take your mom to the doctors, and he was glad that you got to be with her, and that's so cool. And he's Kendall's guardian angel, and he's always watching over her, and he's so happy and proud of our kids, and so proud of you. And but I asked him only something that you would know, because that's how I wanted the validation. I was like, like I don't know this. Yeah, right. So I said, so I heard pizza and I heard baseball, and then I had this image and I described him the field that I saw of this tall grass flowing in the wind. Bob started to tear up because he knew, and he's all like, oh, that was the pizza place we go to after my baseball games. It look that you're describing the field that's across the way.
Oh,
And
I have
he's
chills.
just
I got chills.
he's like tearing up, and I'm like, yes, all right. I was like, oh, this is for real, right? So it was just really awesome
funny.
because I had that validation. So it was really cool. So he's just used to it. And then like now when Johnny starts talking through me to him, it's just when we're reminiscing about certain things. And like we were at the beach on vacation for a week, and it was just he and I, and we're just looking out at the ocean, having some beers, and his dad came through with messages. So I was able to share with him, and that was really cool. So
that was dope.
That is
Yeah.
cool. Tell everybody what you do in the academy as the Heart Chakra person.
As the Heart Chakra representative,
Yes.
I send love and light to everyone. I'm here
Like a
and
Care Bear.
yes, I'm the green Care Bear.
Mm.
I do Reiki Vibes Wednesday, every Wednesday in the QE Academy, except for our Rainbow Weeks. We
Mhm.
have group Reiki, and it's just an awesome time for everyone to take the time for themselves to really just unplug,
Mm-hmm.
relax, reboot, re-energize, whatever the intention is. Typically, it's based on each chakra, but we may be working on a specific chakra for the week, but the Reiki energy will flow wherever your intention wants it to go. That's what it does, and it's beautiful.
And
So
what's
it's
cool is the messages that we get afterwards that are so like synchronistic, and
Yeah.
it might be like a message for one person or for somebody else, but then you find the synchronicity within it all. And then you also do the affirmations and crystals. So you teach about crystals. All that knowledge you got on crystals is like baby steps.
Yeah. And we did the crystal grid workshop. So I got to do another one of those. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to plan one of those here soon, because I love just sharing anything that I can that could help somebody. It's all about just, I'm here to be of service and help others on their healing and wellness journey. So however I could be that person, that guide, that mentor, that vessel of love, that's what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like you know, like your
Lighthouse.
path was just one way to get there. Like there's so many different, like her path was different than mine, but it's like whether it's the moon, the sun, the stars, astrology, crystals, you know, whatever, it still leads to the same place, right? And it opens you up to all the other things too, right?
Well, it does, and it just shows how we're all quantumly entangled. We just truly are, as well as like with Joanna with teaching syncretisms. It's how it's all connected. I mean, we all are connected. Everything is connected. So this is just
Uh-oh.
one way.
Might just keep going, might be a part two.
No, but we've learned so much, you know, like you know, since we started the academy and like going through and breaking everything down, it's like you've been on this journey with us, you know what I mean? Like just putting the stuff out there, learning it, relearning it, like the watch parties we're doing now on top of that. It's like repetition is key. We're just on this journey together. And I think that's the cool part, because like together with our members and everything in our group chats, we've become like a soul family, like it should be, you know, like a fam.
We
Yeah,
totally
it's
have.
you know, and you know what I like most about it is that you can share the fucking experience with no judgment, right? Like I can't have this conversation with my parents. I can't have this conversation with anybody at work, at the gym. You know, there's a very few amount of people I can openly express what I'm saying or even share a victory, right?
So
Because that's not even allowed.
you haven't come out of the crystal closet yet. Crystal closet.
No, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, and that's okay, because
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
we're on this journey together, because you have a safe space. QE Academy has created a safe space for anyone that's wanting to level up, learn, share, discuss, support. That's what it's about. And it's so it's at your own time. And like you said, well, like I said, know your audience. You just know your audience. You know that that person at the gym may not be ready for that. So it's like, okay, whatever. But at least you know you have a safe space to
Yeah,
come and chat.
it's a slippery slope though. It really is. You know, sometimes I wonder if I make the wrong decision. You know what I mean? In terms of like what you share with someone. But I mean, that's intuition and you just have to,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
gotta
flow
go
with
with
it.
whatever you think at the time. And
Yeah,
sometimes
it's
it's
a
like,
subtle
whoa,
skill.
is that really coming out of my mouth right now? Oh, I guess it did come out. Oh.
Oops.
Well, you know how to drop little seeds. So you just see what works. And if you drop something one time that's like just like in general, they could take it, or they're just like, oh, and they want to know more, then they'll come to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's that's the measure of someone's consciousness. You can just tell
Yeah.
when someone is like at a higher level of consciousness, how they respond to the questions that you ask. It's just, yeah, it's cool. I aspire to be that one day.
Okay, last question, Michelle. What do you want to leave behind? Nah, not what do you want to leave behind, but like
Legacy?
yeah, no, not really. Like
It's too much.
if she wanted to, what would be her last words? Like if she wanted to no, not your last words, like forever. I just mean like on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, I gotta put that out there,
that's
man.
not what I mean. Look, what I'm saying is what would you want to let people know? Like if this was like your opportunity of like, hey, what's your one
Like the
thing you
best
want?
piece of advice you could give.
Thank
type
you,
of thing?
God.
Oh my goodness, why didn't you ask me, like, tell me this before so I could actually think of something like very, very
Like with me really quickly, it's like meditate, go within, blah, blah, blah. Like that's always my thing, you know? But like, what do you think is your thing?
Intention is everything. So
That is your thing.
That is your thing.
Start your day with an intention, so that way that's what energy is going to come to you with the law of attraction. That's what you put out, so that's what you'll get. If you can't think of an intention, just find something you're grateful for and let that expand and continue, because with gratefulness comes that higher vibration to help raise you up and keep you in that higher frequency and allow that vortex to flow. So,
For sure.
and always, as always, always sending love and light.
So we got
It's like Michelle.
what, two QE
Intentions and love and light.
2 QE bumper stickers. Yours is intentions. Yours is go within.
Go within.
I don't know what
Yeah.
mine would be.
I've got another one. Yeah, yours is sweat for life, dude.
Yeah, I could do better than that. It's gonna be on a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
But I guess Sweat for Life does have. I mean, that was the reason. It does
There's
have
a
deeper meaning.
deeper
It does have a
meaning.
deeper meaning to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was looking at some when we were going through our intentions last week through Reiki Vibes Wednesday. I wrote that down, but I think I wrote a couple other ones because when Sergio was doing his live in the Love Your Life tribe, he said something that RL mentioned, let's put it on a t-shirt. So
Oh yeah, and I wrote it somewhere or on the comments.
Look at that.
Yes, for sure. So it's like, woohoo, we're gonna have.
Ooh, send it to me later when you can.
We already have your controversial t-shirt that we can make. We won't get into that. That's the second time I brought that up.
Yeah, you have.
I want to talk about that.
Anyway, so thank you so much for coming on here. I know that this whole season really is on spiritual awakenings, and a lot of people don't talk much about their spiritual awakening because it's deep. It requires talking about hitting rock bottom and all the stuff that's magical that most people aren't really ready to listen to. So I think everybody deserves like a spotlight of like, this is my spiritual awakening story, because in a sense, we can all relate, like, even though it may not be the same thing, we can relate to that same feeling of dropping down low and then like finding a way back out of it, So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yes. Would love it. You have anything else to say to her? Or you good?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate what I learned about you. My level of respect is like bing, bing.
So cool.
Not because you know what I mean. You learn something more about someone, and you become more entangled.
Yeah,
because I respect that. Because I know I respect that part of people.
Yeah,
because that's important to me.
I just love, because of what I did experience and growing through it. And then now when something shakes it up during the day and it feels like it could be really, really bad, it's just turning to the tools that I have and then not staying in that lower vibration, that lower area.
You take ownership.
Yeah. It's easier to get in and move up. You know? It truly is. And that's with doing the work and putting the work in, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, guys, you can find Michelle in the QE Academy, QEAcademy.Love. I'll put the links and also the link so that you can read a little bit more about her and what she does in her services as well, with Reiki and all that. So thank you guys for watching this episode, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.